I think we would expect a much more vibrant ecosystem with a lot of different players, with exchanges, with issuers, with asset owners, and investors, right? All coming together and seeing this whole story play out, and on a global basis as well.
Hey everyone, this is Darren. Welcome to another Density Insight episode. Real estate STO is a new, unique concept that potentially unlocks the barrier to real estate investing. As this movement is still at its early stage, we think it's important to have more discussions in this arena and educate others that want to participate. In this episode, we have Michael to talk about the real estate STO, its challenge and outlook. He is a co-founder of MaiBlocks Technology and MaiCapital, a fintech startup in Hong Kong that aims to solve an age-old problem, making illiquid investments more liquid. I hope you can learn from him for your own exploration. Enjoy. Hey Mike, hey, thanks for joining us.
Hey Darren, good to see you again.
Yeah, it's been like, I think half a year last time I see you.
Yeah, it's been a while. All this interesting things happening in the world.
Yeah, which is something that I want to talk to you about because, like, you know, we are both in ASTA, and then we haven't talked about like what's going on in the market or even what's going on with the regulation and even the real estate security token offering space. So this interview is something that I really want to talk to you about, even personally, to learn more about what's going on. So for the audience that don't know who you are and what you do, would you mind give them a very short intro?
Sure, definitely. So hi everyone, my name is Michael and I'm a co-founder of MaiBlocks and MaiCapital. And what we're doing here is we're a fintech startup here in Hong Kong that aims to solve an age-old problem, which is turning illiquid investments into something more liquid. And we're trying to use the power of blockchain to help with that. So when people think about, for example, investing into real estate, traditionally people would immediately associate that with something that's very illiquid. So what we're hoping is to use the power of blockchain to basically make this whole investment much more liquid. We're calling this as a digitized fund, but you know, you can check out more on our website as well at MaiBlocks.com.
So for people who doesn't know about blockchain or crypto, what's the difference between a security token offering and initial coin offering in simple terms?
Yeah, so there are a few key differences. I would summarize them into a few keywords. One is asset-backed, the other one is regulation, and the third is risk. So both ICOs and STOs use STO, meaning security tokens, use blockchain technology to enable a crowdfunding mechanism for people to raise capital. And the key difference here is STOs are backed by actual tangible assets. These could be real assets like real estate, or it could be income streams or profit streams. Where ICOs are more promises of future services or future products that you could use or buy. And so that's one key difference is STO is backed by something that's much more tangible. The other thing is regulation. So there's really, in many jurisdictions, STOs is heavily regulated. There's specific rules on what you can and cannot do, whereas ICOs in many cases are not. So it leads to the third key difference, which is risk. Because ICO is not, in many cases, not properly regulated, there could be rampant with fraud and scams, and there's a much higher risk of speculation, where STO is much more grounded.
So obviously, like, blockchain has been a big topic for not only real estate. So it's a really big industry and something that a lot of people like yourself obviously is thinking about. It's going to change how we look at, you know, trading and how we securitize something. So why is it huge for real estate with, you know, when it comes to STO? And then, like, you know, like, how's the difference comparing to a REITs?
Yeah, so real estate, as I started earlier, people associated with investing in real estate is difficult to get in and also difficult to get out, meaning it's very illiquid. And traditionally, there are in the real estate world there aren't that many ways to invest into real estate, especially on commercial properties. Traditionally, either you go through private equity, which is still very illiquid in its form, or through REIT, which is essentially an IPO, so a listed process, which is much more liquid, so it allows a lot of people to get in, get out much easier, but it's very expensive to structure. So what ends up happening is REITs tends to have many assets under its portfolio, and so the whole investment profile, the whole return profile is washed out, is averaged out across many different assets. So very seldom you would see single asset REIT, for example. STO in this case, because it is cheaper to structure, it's cheaper to issue, then it allows asset owners to structure single asset STOs, which would offer similarly more liquid capabilities, so people can get in and get out easier. So that's one of the key differences between STO and REIT. There are other differences. For example, REITs are usually traded in public markets, which is only open during business hours. Tokens can be traded 24/7. So there are also these various differences as well.
So obviously it sounds really cool, right? I mean, just something that as a real estate investor, I'll be like, wow, that's crazy, you can do that. But then, people are talking about this for a very long time, but how has it not been a mainstream? And then in that regard, well, obviously not mainstream yet, what kind of challenge is there for a real estate asset being tokenized?
Yeah. So on the first point, it has been talked about, this concept, for over a year, and however, it is still relatively new. It's a new concept, especially to investors, and I think there are a few reasons. One reason obviously is there are still a lot of hurdles to get through before you can actually issue an STO, including technology, regulation, even financial considerations. But we think there's also one key element that's been missing in this ecosystem is exchange. A big benefit of STO is the ability, is liquidity, so ability for people to exit via secondary markets, like exchanges. However, exchanges that can support security tokens need to be properly regulated and licensed. And so this depends on the regulator giving out licenses to these operators. And right now, the regulators from all over the world, have still been slow in issuing these licenses. So, the virus definitely put a kind of pause on all these activities as well. But we think over the next 6 to 12 months, we do expect more and more of these exchanges to pop out with proper licenses and proper regulation behind them. And so once these markets appear, then hopefully the liquidity will then show up. And so that's one of the reasons why it hasn't really picked up in the mainstream. And regarding your second question on, why hasn't real estate asset owners, kind of swarmed to doing tokenizing these assets? I think in a lot of cases, people are in a wait and see mode, whereas they don't really want to be the first guy out, and so a lot of people are just waiting for more success stories before they jump into this. So this becomes a little bit of a chicken and egg, where you want to have good assets out there, but then you want to have good liquidity, and which comes first.
So in your opinion, right, what type of real estate asset type, investment strategy, that are best suited for tokenized, and then what aren't the best for tokenized?
Yeah, so again, because this is still a very new concept, so we want to remove as much of the uncertainties as possible. And so by putting assets that are less risky, that are already generating, regular dividends or regular yields. Those type of assets, I think, would make more sense for STOs today. And also commercial properties is going to be more interesting for STOs because there are already many different ways for people to invest into residential properties, whereas commercial properties are still quite limited in the accessibility of it. So we think a mixture of these type of assets would be a better fit for now.
I see. So because we talked a lot before about what kind of asset and everything, right? Is there something in your mind that you think it should be because less risky is a very broad term. Is there a certain size or even for example, income generating, right? And less risk. What does that mean to you? Just want to know in your point of view as it.
I think there's an element of how much of the market exists today. So if you throw something out that's huge, let's say $1 billion worth of asset, probably the market is not there yet to take up the whole piece of the asset. So in terms of size, I think we're still in the $10 to $100 million size, kind of a US dollar kind of market. And in terms of risk, what we're meaning is that there are different types of investment properties. It could be a property where you're just buying a piece of land where the whole property hasn't been built yet, whereas it needs to be built up from ground up. So those, in many cases, are what we categorize as much more risky, versus where you already have an existing building, let's say an office building, and you're already collecting rent from existing tenants. So we have an ongoing track record from the returns of the property that will, in our sake, more categorized as a more certain investment.
I see. I feel like if we do this every single year, I think it'll be like you look back to how things are becoming, evolving. That'll be kind of cool in the future. From speculating to it happens, more cases and cases. Because I obviously hope the industry goes well too. So something that in my mind would be that's kind of cool if that happens. And so to follow up, right? So what other components or parties need to be involved or participate to make the real estate tokenization happen or matured?
There are obviously different players. There's technology players, there are financial players, and obviously real estate players. But I think a big key component is regulators, or the government. So basically, having the government behind it and putting down the right rules and regulation to protect investors, I think that would give a lot of confidence to attract more both retail and institutional investors to come into the space. So I think that is a big piece of this as well.
I see. So for the existing real estate STO out there, right? What are things that the audience need to be aware of?
There are ultimately, what the investors will be investing is the underlying asset. The token really facilitates the investment, but is not really the point of the investment. What you're investing is the underlying property or real estate or whatever asset it is. So I think that is key, is the valuation of what you're investing should focus mainly on that asset itself rather than the token. So this removes a lot of the speculative aspect of this, and I think that's most important. I mean, the other parts also is you need to worry about the issuance and the service providers that are providing these tokens to you, making sure that they are legitimate, they are proper. That's to protect your own investment as well.
That's good. Well, so because we're both in Hong Kong, and something that even I want to ask you, where are we with real estate STO in Hong Kong? And then how's the activities with different countries at the moment?
Hong Kong, frankly, has been relatively slow compared to the rest of the world. I think the regulator has been pretty public about supporting digital assets and related business, including STO. And however, we have not seen any actual licenses, for example, that's given out to exchanges. But we do expect probably maybe that was delayed by the virus and the pandemic. But hopefully we'll see some progress closer to the end of this year. Compared to US and Singapore, they actually have already issued licenses to exchanges and related players in this space. So it's, at least for now, seemingly they're moving a little bit more faster than Hong Kong, but hopefully Hong Kong will catch up soon.
So like casino, we've been asked for a while, learning about sharing insight about, about STO world and stuff like that. And there's a lot of noise online too, and everyone has different opinions and stuff like that. What is something in this industry that you think is misunderstood or overrated?
I think there's a lot of misconception. STO, the T stands for token. But when people think about token, then a lot of people immediately associate that with ICOs, or a lot of, back in 2017, 2018, where there were a lot of frauds and scams associated with ICOs and tokens. And so people immediately become very risk averse on accepting this idea, even though, token is essentially a term that we computer geeks come up with to represent something that's virtual. It's merely a tool. So, and the tool can be properly managed, and the risk can be contained if there are enough protections around it. And so, STO is nothing like these type of scam tokens out there. So I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions out there.
I see. So for the audience, right, who might be, people who are technologists, real estate owners, or people who just want to participate in this whole movement, what would you suggest that they can participate?
So I think the best thing is to invest, to actually try it out. I think you won't know how it works until you actually try it. I don't mean going all out and put all your money, all your savings into it, but there are now more and more ways for people to get on exchanges or websites where you can actually legally and compliantly buy and invest in these STOs. So I would encourage people to just try it out, put down a little bit of money just to see it and see how it works.
So just now, I think a couple of questions ago, we talked about how COVID-19 might have delayed a little bit the process, right? But then even with COVID-19 and the recession, how do you think that they impact the real estate STO movement so far?
It's interesting because it actually, the pandemic, while it's devastating to many people, it forced a lot of people to think about how to do things differently. And, one of the key impact is, there's a lot less face-to-face time now. Even you and I have to talk over Zoom now instead of meeting face-to-face.
And we're 20 minutes away, I could just take a cab and find you, yeah. Oh, sorry, keep going, sorry about that, yeah.
No worries. And so a lot of traditional means of raising capital, such as private equities, a lot of deals close after face-to-face meetings, but then now these meetings don't occur, then which means it's much harder to close these deals. And so STOs offer an alternative way for people to close deals and raise capital. Furthermore, I think the pandemic is causing a lot of valuation issues for real estate asset owners as well. And so some of these guys are now looking into more alternative ways to raise capital beyond just the traditional means. And so I think STO is something that is now getting on their radar.
Yeah, because like I think there's a company that I think we both know are doing like virtual roadshow, and then I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, and then I looked into some tech recently, right, like virtual showing, drone surveillance, and stuff like that. I even personally I feel like this can work. Everything combined together. It's not only STO, it's about the investing world. About the real estate investing, how we come together to build, and then more people can participate in all shape and size. And then so the audience might not know that you're from San Francisco, and I'm sure you have technologists kind of thinking, what should we expect to see when it comes to real estate STO world in 3 years' time? Your point of view.
I think I think we would expect a much more vibrant ecosystem with a lot of different players, with exchanges, with issuers, with asset owners, and investors, right? All coming together and seeing this whole story play out, and on a global basis as well. So we're not talking about Hong Kong people investing into Hong Kong assets. We're talking about Hong Kong people investing into tokenized assets from the States, and people in Africa investing into assets, potentially in Hong Kong. So I think that's what we expect. It does take more time to build this out, but I think in 3-4 years' time, this will be a much more interesting.
I see. If you have a message to everyone in the STO or real estate sector, and what would that be?
I think really what's happening in the world today is really a strong indication that a lot of things needs to change in how they're done, and there's a lot of talks about whether globalization was to exist with this pandemic still running rampant and people can't travel and they can't see each other. But I think globalization will still continue, but it's just much less in physical form.
I see.
Instead, I think a lot more things will happen online. Right? These Zoom calls, we didn't have these Zoom calls much less frequent before COVID-19. And so a lot of things will happen online, transactions will happen online, and STO is poised to replace a lot of these real estate type investment and transactions activities more and more.
Actually, that sounds like a very good takeaway for your audience to know what's going on. And do you have another takeaway that you want the audience to take away from this whole video?
I think it's STO again is a very new concept. I think it's a very interesting concept. Whether you're an investor or an asset owner, it's something that could be interesting and valuable to you. And so, if you're looking into this a little bit more and you want to learn more about it, please check out our website, MaiBlocks.com, MaiBlocks.com, and you can even sign up on our platform and check out our deals that we start to have on our platform. And if you'd like to talk to us personally, MaiBlocks, we can offer an end-to-end service in the space of STO, and we would love to talk to you about it.
That's great. I think, obviously, I will include everything in the show notes. And then I think we should meet up soon because it's been a while. And then, thanks so much for your time. Because, I know, for DENZITY Insight, we want to cover a lot of different things. And STO has been this biggest thing that I take a long time to, learn and digest everything. So I hope that we have this more often, some kind of long form discussions. And then even maybe we can have this whole every quarter of learning about STO, what's going on. So it's something that I want to thank you for having the time to talk to us. And then I hope the audience too to learn more about, how the whole world will become in a couple of years' time.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for taking the time to learning about our world. And I think this is a great channel for people like us to communicate new ideas to the world.
Yeah. Thanks so much. And then talk to you next time then. Thank you.
All right. Talk to you later. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks for watching. What do you think of this episode? Please let us know in the comment below, and be sure to hit the subscribe button to keep in touch with us for upcoming videos. But before we go, I want to give a big shout out to Patina Design Lab. They're the one who help us in making our brand, our direction, as well as these videos. They are a strategic design consultancy firm that help businesses with a wide range of design services, from industrial design, branding, graphic design, art direction, content creation, and many more. They are a very talented bunch, and I urge you to check out their website for their work. That's all for today, and see you next time. Cheers.